How's it going, everybody? So I'm back once again, another movie review. This time around, we're talking about the latest horror film, The Prodigy. I really wasn't too sure about checking out this film, so I let Twitter decide for me. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'll leave a link in the description, because I do polls for you if you want me to do a review for these films or not. Very narrowly, this film, was a, go check it out. So I wasn't really excited for this film. The trailers looked fine. I mean, they didn't look like anything out of the ordinary as when it comes to these child possession style horror films, whatever you want to call that kind of subgenre in horror. But I figured it'd be interesting, and I also, apparently they were showing the trailer for the remake of Child's Play, since Orion Pictures is making the remake for Child's Play as well, so this is supposed to be like your exclusive first look tomorrow. They're going to drop the trailer for it online tomorrow, but they didn't show that trailer in my theater, so I actually didn't even get to see it, so that would have been one of the incentives on going. But just this film alone, I mean, it was a mixed bag. I mean, that's the appropriate term to use for this. There's some stuff that I thought was okay, and there's a lot I didn't like, so it's definitely a very mixed bag experience. Prodigy's plot, unfortunately, isn't anything too different than everything we've ever seen before in these genres. It's basically just about Taylor Schilling's character. Her son is exhibiting some weird behavior, and they think some supernatural elements are involved, and they're kind of wondering what's wrong with Miles, which is like the big tagline, what's wrong with him. You eventually do figure out, even though it's very obvious, what exactly is wrong with him, and it tries to do some, interesting stuff with the plot, but it really is very predictable, and the characters are very bland. Taylor Schilling, I mean, you mostly know her as Piper from Orange is the New Black, which is a show I enjoy, but there's just nothing that she could do with this character to make her really interesting, because for the most part, she is kind of just like an overly concerned mother character. There's really nothing else given to her to actually progress her as a character. She's a great actress. I actually really enjoy her in Orange is the New Black, and none of the material, none of the actors or actresses actually do a bad job. It's just the material they're given with there's not much to work with. There's nothing to keep you engaged. It's just this kid every now and then does something kind of weird, and then she, same stuff you see in all these other movies, like The Omen, and even Child's Play a little bit, because, obviously there's no killer doll, but the other elements that lead up to Child's Play before the killer doll aspects come in, they're very similar in The Prodigy. Jackson Robert Scott, who plays Miles, you also probably know him as Georgie from It in that brief little role in the beginning of the film. He actually wasn't that bad either. I actually thought he did a really great job with the material that they did try and give him as this, evil little child, and he says these very grotesque things, and he just acts like a very evil, devious child. It's something we haven't seen before in this genre, but he did an okay job for what it's worth. He actually has a promising career. He's definitely trying his hardest with what they give him. But there's just no depth to any of these characters. There's nothing there. That's one of the unfortunate things about this film. It's just a very run-of-the-mill standard plot of these same movies that you see recycled over and over again. And there's several moments in this movie where it literally just almost blatantly rips off The Omen. Like, the way that this film ends is pretty much almost the exact same ending as The Omen, which kind of bothered me, just because it was so similar. It was like, oh, they're just literally gonna rip off The Omen. Like, whatever. Of course, this is a scary movie, so you're supposed to think, okay, how are the scares in this? They're very non-existent. The majority of them are just cheap jump scares, so there's nothing really too genuinely scary about this horror film. There was one moment with a jump scare that did caught me off guard because it was so out there, but it didn't really, it just was weird. It wasn't like a scary kind of situation. It's just like, okay, well, that's really weird. You'll know exactly what moment I'm talking about when it happens, because it's very unexpected. But other than that, it's just just standard. It's just very standard, cheap jump scares. It's nothing we haven't seen before. It's just such a lackluster attempt at a horror film. It's just such an unfortunate kind of thing, because it's not even like the actors were that bad. It's just the story around them is just so dumb. If the actual story involved was actually executed a lot better, was a lot more interesting, it could have actually probably been elevated to a much better film. There are many films that have actually done this plot better. Like I said, The Omen is another one that's definitely a higher echelon in the horror genre. But it's just a very forgettable film. Like, you're not going to remember this film by the end of the year, come the end of 2019. It exists. It almost is like an extension of a January movie, because we are in the very beginning of February. Obviously, January has that stigma. It feels like a January movie, but it's February. That's the best way to put it. It probably won't make my bottom 10 of the year or anything. It's just going to be very forgettable. But yeah, maybe check this out if it's on streaming, or one of the Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, one of them, if it goes to one of those streaming services. But I don't really think you need to go see this in a theater at all, unfortunately. Go see something else, the Lego movie comes out this week. And I believe Liam Neeson's movie comes out this week as well. So, I mean, there are other things you can go see besides this. But those are just my thoughts on The Prodigy. Let me know in the comment section down below if you've seen the film. What did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you planning on going to see it this weekend? Let's get a discussion going in the comments. Thank you so much for checking out my little review. If you enjoyed it, feel free to give it a like. Hit that subscribe button so you can keep up to date with all my movie reviews, trailer reactions, unboxings, and more. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.